Hello, thank you so much for joining us. Today we want to talk a little bit about if you have a settlement agreement and the other party isn't holding up their end of the bargain, what to do in that instance. This is MLC Live. I'm Leah, here today with Kyle to give us some options here. So Kyle, if a client comes to you and they have a settlement agreement, but the other party isn't cooperating, what would you advise?
Thanks, Leah. Well, this is a question we actually get a lot as an attorney. There are a few things to look at. One of the first things I would ask is, do you already have a case that's filed and before the court? A lot of cases reach settlement before they ever go to trial, which is something usually the parties and attorneys in the court encourage. But sometimes people enter those settlement agreements, they think they've resolved the case, and then 6 months down the road, nothing's happening. One of the options you have in that situation is to move the court to enforce the settlement agreement. Now, you'll have to be sure that the agreement is already written down and signed by the parties, or that it was entered into the court minutes and then reduced to an order. That saves you the trouble of having to threaten to go to litigation and then actually filing a case, serving the parties, and all the delays and expenses that come with that.
That sounds like something that would happen in an ideal world, but here at Morris Law Center, we live in the real world. So what would we do in an instance where that doesn't happen?
Well, unfortunately, as does happen quite often, people enter a settlement agreement before a case ever goes into court, and then it turns out it's not being fulfilled. It's probably hard to proceed with the party thinking they're going to settle with you, and you probably have to move towards litigation. Now, settlement agreements in Nevada are actually governed by general principles of contract law. So you would file a claim for breach of contract, and depending on some circumstances of the case, you might also look at something called a breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. That might come up in a case where the other party was being so unfair and never intending to move forward with their settlement with you that you would have an additional claim on top of the breach of contract as well.
Wow. Lots of information, a lot of more information that we can give. Unfortunately, we don't have the time for it today, but we do have a blog on the subject coming out very soon, so make sure to be on the lookout for that. We also have tons more of helpful information on our website in blog form, so you can check all of those out. In the meantime, make sure to tune in next week when we go live on Thursday. Comment any questions you may have below or feel free to give us a call. Thanks.